The version 4 livestream might be one of the most exciting updates we've ever gotten for Star Rail. From a free limited 6-star selector to insane free Jades and even a whole free skin for Ron May. Things are finally getting hyped up for Star Rail, dude. And with the hype obviously came with a bunch of things related to the new characters from the all-new Elation Path 2. We also got a bunch of reruns that will seriously run you dry if you plan poorly. So let's break down all these characters and banners to see who are worth pulling for based on your account. Before we start though, just a quick word from today's sponsor. It'll be quick, guys. With the all-new version 4.0 finally approaching, maybe you're out of resources or you're panicking about pulling new characters now, here's where I'd like to introduce to you a website that I use for top-ups, which is Aniba. Aniba offers the best top-up services and it's worth every bang for your buck. The best part is Aniba complies with all of Hoyoverse's guidelines with top-up services, so it's certainly trustworthy, and as usual, I myself has used it, had zero issues with it. You can top up for yourself or for your friends because all you need to do is click the first link in the description, choose the item that you would like to top up, enter your server, and then your UID, complete the payment, and voila, you see your resources in a designated account. No login needed. What's interesting is that there's a 10% cashback on what you're purchasing, or you can claim by going into your orders after purchasing, click on claim, and you'll see the cashback in your Aniba wallet. This cashback can be used for any other purchases in the Aniba website and can top up for Star Rail even more. Or heck, pick up a gift or two. It's simple, it's a good deal, and most importantly, it's trustworthy. Check Aniba out and you'll support me as a creator too if you do give it a go. As usual though, no pressure at all, and with that said, let's get back into the video. Now then, to start us off, the livestream mentioned Yao Guang's banner will be available for the whole of this upcoming version 4.0. So you have a lot more time for you to decide if you want to commit. And that should be the overall best idea, to wait for news first before you do commit. In any case, let's just first dive into the first new Elation character that will come, which is Yao Guang. She is of the physical element, and long story short, Yao Guang is a supportive enabler for Elation Path characters. First, to understand what that means, it's important to first understand what is the Elation playstyle. You see, with this new Elation Path, when you enter combat with Elation characters in your team or against certain enemies, you will automatically see a AHA symbol countdown in your action bar. When the action bar reaches the AHA symbol, you will activate an AHA instant. This effect activates every single Elation skill of your characters once and provides them with a unique buff named a Certified Banger. This unique buff will activate or boost the Elation characters' kit effect and or numbers. Only Elation Path characters have this Elation skill that AHA instant would activate at the moment, and you can consider it as something completely extra that we've not seen any other characters have before. And let me just say, Sparxie's Elation skill looks hilarious. She's just moving at ×5 speed all the time. The final point of interest with this mechanic is with the punchline stacks that's shown as a number right above your skill points, and also right beside the AHA symbol on the action bar. To put it bluntly, the higher the punchline number, the higher Elation damage dealt, and the higher the value of buffs that AHA would provide, hence the higher your damage output overall. All punchlines will be consumed at the end of the AHA instant, and you can gain punchlines by using Elation characters kit, much like Yao Guang's kit or Sparxie's kit. So the trick here is to gain as many punchlines as possible, activate AHA instant, gain more buffs and damage, rinse and repeat. That'll be the main idea of this new playstyle. And now that you understand more about the Elation Path, let's finally dive into Yao Guang's kit to see why she's a very important enabler for Elation. We'll start with the most important one, which will be Yao Guang's ultimate. Her ult allows you to regenerate a big 5 punchline stacks, and more importantly, she instantly activates an extra AHA instant. To refresh your memory, this means when Yao Guang does her ult, your whole team will activate their Elation skill once. And when you reach the AHA countdown on your action bar, you'll activate AHA instant again. So she essentially like doubles your AHA instant amount. This overall means two things. Firstly, Yao Guang's value will increase depending on the Elation skills of your team. Since she can activate all of them one whole extra time with her ultimate, the better your Elation skills are on the team, the better the value is of Yao Guang. This makes Yao Guang an important piece for Elation teams that massively enables every Elation characters to perform better, at least on paper so far. Secondly, Yao Guang is less ideal when paired with non-Elation characters. Obviously, with non-Elation characters, they don't have Elation skills. Yao Guang will not be able to activate any Elation skills with AHA instant if there's just no Elation skills to be activated by non-Elation characters. So yep, Yao Guang is one of the more important characters to consider if you are aiming for Elation teams, but you might want to think twice first before proceeding. She's not exactly the type of character that could easily fit into older archetypes. types. More on that later though, let's dive deeper into her kit first. Once you use Yao Guang's ult, naturally you'll activate every Elation character's Elation skill. Yao Guang's Elation skill increases damage taken by all enemies and recovers 1 skill point, which again makes her more of a supportive role. Her skill regenerates 3 punch lines and activates a zone that provides buff to all allies for 3 turns. Yao Guang's talent allows her to trigger an instance of Elation damage after an ally uses an attack. If skill points are consumed for your ally's attack, Yao Guang triggers 1 additional Elation damage instance. You can only activate this effect when she has the certified banger buff from AHA, which you mostly will have it on. And that's pretty much it for a whole kit. With that, let's summarize on her roles and teams. Yao Guang is most certainly a supportive character that is very important to Elation teams. She even has solid damage provided by her talent too. So overall, her value as an Elation character is quite high and she's pretty good in Elation teams. Her best team will most definitely include Sparxie, given she's the only other Elation character that exists so far. If I were to name the whole best team though, it would be Yao Guang, Sparxie, the newly buffed Sparkle, and the free Danheng PT. This is actually a very cheap team, all things considered, since you can have Sparkle for free with the selector, and Danheng is free. For a team this cheap, it is actually functionally okay, and you'll see good performance from this, which makes Yao Guang and Sparxie both a solid choice to just pull together, and you instantly have a team that's very solid that also utilizes the all-new mechanics of the Elation. There are also alternative teams that doesn't necessarily use both of these characters together, and that would be using Yao Guang with Sparkle and Archer instead. However though, you won't be utilizing as much of the whole Elation mechanic, and more so just trying to help out Archer, especially with a talent of Yao Guang that's able to just add more Elation damage every time Archer spends skill points to use another skill. But as mentioned, it's not as ideal since Yao Guang's ult will not be triggering anyone else's Elation skill except for herself, since there's no other Elation characters around. But the team will work though if you're just wondering about any other alternatives. And all of that are the positives that I'm mentioning so far. We'll explain more on this team once we break down Sparxie, but before we move on, let's think about if we should pull for Yao Guang then. For now, if you want to play with a strong Elation team, you have to pull Yao Guang since she basically allows you to activate extra AHAs instant. That means extra Elation skills for your entire team if they're Elation characters. The value is honestly high. But if you consider the future, it's hard to just instantly proceed since we know for a fact that Trailblazer will obtain an Elation Path soon. And for the past 2 Trailblazer paths with Harmony and Remembrance, they have both been the general supportive role that activates their respective teams. Harmony Trailblazer for break teams and Remembrance Trailblazer for most Remembrance teams. So who's to say if Hoyo does release Elation Trailblazer that can take the spot of Yao Guang perhaps by activating the Elation teams? That would make her less of a priority, which is why my personal recommendation is for you to wait first, hold on to your pulls going into version 4 and see if there are any news on the new Trailblazer path. Once you receive news and if Yao Guang ends up being quite irreplaceable or if she simply still provides great value, it will be a very recommended pull since she would be one of the more stable supports that at the very least for any Elation teams will be able to utilize her ability to just have an extra AHA instant, and the value of that is hard to top. Otherwise, they'll pull if you love her a lot or don't pull if you don't quite like her. That's always the real answer. With Yao Guang done, let's take a look now at the second new character that only comes in phase 2, which is the hilarious looking Sparxie. She's of the fire element, and to quickly summarize, she's a mix of a punchline generator and a damage dealer with high skill point usage. She's so funny that you can treat her as a 5-star Tingchue, since her kit is actually a gosh dang gacha game too. Why does the character I pull make me pull for more things? The main mechanic of her kit revolves around her skill, which can be used multiple times at the cost of 1 skill point each usage. When you do use this skill, she presses her face on your screen. I don't know, it just looks funny to me. Once you use her skill, she either gains 1 punchline or she could get a big prize and recover 2 skill points while regaining 2 punchline all at once. You can tell she drew the big prize that shows a rocket animation right after you click the skill. That's the one that gives you skill points and punchlines. It's the one you want to get, and you could get lucky and get multiple of those as you spam the skill. So yep, keep spamming the skill, and if you're lucky, you can keep recovering skill points and keep drawing for more. If you're unlucky, well, take a hike, baby. It's just her funny personality, I feel. Every time you use her skill, she enhances her basics damage too, on top of gaining all of those punchlines. Once you run out of skill points, or if you decide to stop gambling, you can use your enhanced basic now, which deals massive multi-target damage. The more skills you've done with her prior, the more damage she will do here. Sparxie's talent allows her to deal extra instance of Elation damage based on how many skills she's used, and you can only trigger this effect if she has the certified banger buff from AHA, which you mostly will have it on, but so far it seems to be a similar similar idea with Yao Guang. The certified banger buff from AHA will be important to activate their kit further. Sparxie's Elation skill is very simple. She deals massive damage to all enemies and deal additional bounce damage to enemies too. Her ult is also very simple. After dancing on her enemies' faces, she deals damage to all enemies and gains some punchlines. And that's about it. That means her playstyle pretty much seems to be gain skill points as much as you can with the whole team, hence why you want Sparkle on it. Spend as many skill points as you can with the skill and do a bunch of damage with your basic while using your Elation skill when AHA instance is happening. With all that said, let's summarize her role and teams. Sparxie is a punchline generator with how she constantly gains punchlines with her skill spams, and she's also fit with a great deal of damage output because of all the punchlines generated and with her skills effect that boosts the damage of her basic. You just want to spam her skill, and with good luck, you'll obtain the most damage output with her, which makes her a solid damage dealer. Her Elation skill is also equipped with very good damage output, meaning to say, Yao Guang is currently the perfect ally for her since she's able to regenerate skill point number 1, and she also allows Sparxie to use her Elation skill even more often via her ultimate. I will say Sparxie may not be just a pure main DPS, and she might have really good potential in the future given the amount of punchline that she generates. It's almost guaranteed that punchline will be one of the main mechanics in the future with more Elation characters being released. So if you want someone that can regenerate a lot of punchlines, it's gonna be Sparxie. The best Sparxie team currently will involve Yao Guang, Sparxie, Sparkle, and a sustain like Danheng PT that can ideally regenerate skill points consistently. Obviously, since Sparxie will need to use a bunch of skill points. Speaking of skill points, that's why the best team here also includes the newly buffed Sparkle, since she not only allows you to have extra skill point slot, which definitely helps when Sparxie regenerates extra skill points. On top of that is Sparkle's newly announced buff that allows her to now regenerate 6 skill points on her ultimate while being able to record any overflowing skill points. Once recorded, she can then regenerate the skill points at the end of an ally's turn, which all improves skill point economy and is the best aid for Sparxie's insatiable appetite for gambling her skill points away. With all that said, let's ask the more important question. Should you be pulling Sparxie? First and foremost, if we look at things directly, Sparxie will definitely need Yao Guang's support at the moment to shine, given she would be able to activate Elation skills with her ult and gain punchlines that overall helps Elation damage. Even then, the Elation team is definitely not completed yet at the moment though, with the lack of more Elation characters to flesh out a lot of these characters' kit further. But if we strictly say at the current moment, Sparxie and Yao Guang will definitely be a must-pull combo if you wish to play either of them strictly right now. Well, I mean, there are literally no other Elation characters outside of 2 of them, right? This is why my personal best recommendation is to still wait for showcases first, which I will share tomorrow in the channel, by the way. Do drop a follow for everything HSR. Appreciate that. After that, wait for the next live stream or news on coming banners and characters, including the Elation Trailblazer. The simple reason here being it is announced that Yao Guang's banner will stay for the whole of version 4.0, and Sparxie being a phase 2 banner will also stay till the end of the version, which is why you actually have enough time to just wait for news on coming banners before deciding to either pull for them both or pick one, or maybe not pick any of them at all. I will add that given they are both brand new Elation characters, their strength will be solid or maybe even top tier for the majority of the version. Howeivers tend to focus on a new path and archetype for every version after all, so given they are both Elation characters, they won't ever just suddenly be unusable, which is why I will say this: do not shy away from pulling their respective ideal teams if you really do enjoy their gameplay or the characters, especially if you're not exactly the type to only focus on the strongest, most meta teams every major update. In my humble opinion though, there are no one right way to play, so you should just do whatever you most prefer. But if you're saying pure value for money, wait for the next banners, then make a decision. If it looks like Sparxie's ability to generate a high number of punchlines, or if Yao Guang's extra AHA instant is able to support and do well with whatever comes next, their pull value will increase greatly and you can make a decision then. And with all the new stuff out the way, let's finally talk about the reruns. In phase 1, we see Evernight, Hysilens, and Black Swan. To start with Evernight, this is a very straightforward one. Evernight is the top tier sub DPS / support for the top Remembrance team like the Castrus team. I do recommend getting her if you only need her left to fully complete your Castrus team, and if you have a surplus of pulls after deciding on whether to go for the new batters or skip them maybe. I don't quite recommend going for Eidolons pretty much at all at this juncture unless you aren't interested with potential new characters being worth more and you might want to save for them. Of course, if you truly love the character, go for it. As for both Hysilens and Black Swan, they are both from the same dot archetype, and this will actually mainly depend on how good post buff Black Swan is, which we will cover on this channel next week, so again, do drop a follow for that. But long story short, unless you want to play a dot team, there are zero reasons to get any of them. The strength of the dot teams are actually still quite strong, and especially with a post buff Black Swan, it may even be actually stronger. However though, you do absolutely need Kafka alongside both of these characters to make a really good dot team, although you could just redeem Kafka for free with a limited selector, but but then you will be missing out on picking Sparkle to be using the new Elation team. However though, missing anyone from the core dot team will be detrimental, and even then Black Swan is not exactly the must-have unit there. Again though, it might change since she is buffed, but it will need testing for now. But regardless of anything, I would recommend committing and pulling the whole dot team only if you're a big fan of the characters and playstyle, and you definitely want to either pull the whole team or just don't pull them. A lot of the characters, especially Kafka and Hysilens, are irreplaceable. Without either one of them, the performance drops steeply. Otherwise though, save and wait for the next huge Elation team setup could be the better play. Next off will be the phase 2 reruns. We do see Cerydra, Rappa, and Sparkle. To start us off with Cerydra, her best setup will be with Finan or an Axa. Finan, as we all know, absolutely top tier. Cerydra being able to have Finan replicate his huge meteor nuke is insane value. I do recommend going for Cerydra if you're big on Finan, but I will say it is not at all a must-have to have Finan work. There are people who run Sunday, Cyrene, Remembrance Trailblazer, or even Bronya to still achieve solid results with Finan. If you're chasing the peak, Cerydra will be good value. I recommend going for her if you have surplus and would like to fully complete Finan's team, which is well worth it since it is a strong team. But as usual, we know Elation is the next focus. Awaiting the next big Elation team can always be the play. Next, we have Rappa, which I'll straight up say she isn't the highest priority target overall since she isn't as versatile, given her kit that is skewed towards AoE scenarios like Pure Fiction. If you're just talking value for money, there are better options that clears everything with the same investments. But then again, if you love her dearly, go for it. Finally, we have Sparkle, which is conveniently obtainable for free now with a free 5-star limited ticket. So immediately that means there's zero needs to pull Sparkle with the rerun, unless you're considering her Eidolons or Lyco. Her Eidolons may or may not have changed because of the buffs, so we will have to wait before giving a verdict on that. But her Lyco can easily be replaced with Dance 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 that I would consider to straight up be better for faster clears. So yeah, not exactly a banner you have to spend on unless you're going for the Eidolons. And with that said, I've just uncovered all the new characters, all the reruns. It's a pretty long video, and I hope I helped you out going into the big version 4. It's been so long since we had a big update, and I cannot wait to cover everything HSR again. And I hope y'all are still around because I have not been the most active here. But well, we're back though. We're back in full throttle. That is all. Do let me know in the comments who we'll be pulling for. I'd love to know. Take care.